I'm Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here with you to explore your intuition, the supernatural, and self empowerment. This is Third Eyesight.
Hey everyone, my name is Rafe, like safe. I'm located in sunny South Florida, Fort Lauderdale to be exact. And I am one of the co hosts of Two Otters Deep, a podcast that is all about authenticity and creating community within South Florida for the LGBTQIA plus community. And I have been invited here by my lovely special friend, Juan Francisco. Juan Francisco is a psychic medium. He's always felt the presence of the other side in his life, but it was in his 20s when his abilities grew even stronger, particularly in the middle of conducting a tarot reading. During that reading, the soul of his sitter's loved one shared messages of hope and validated their presence. This unexpected experience inspired Juan to begin his practice as an intuitive worker and to launch his podcast, Third Eyesight, which delves into his own experience as a psychic, as well as both the psychic and supernatural experiences of guests who join the podcast. Third Eyesight has been downloaded by listeners across the globe. For his work, Juan has been featured in Women's UK Health and New York Magazine's The Cut. He lives in New York City. So, Juan, my love, it is so good to see you. Thank you for having me on here and inviting me to actually interview you. So, this seems a little different this time, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is weird. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you, Rafe. I love you. And I've told Rafe this offline, but Rafe has been a friend of mine for almost a decade, if not a decade, and we're just so connected. And I trust Rafe. He's amazing at asking questions and going, as his podcast is titled, Going Deep, go in there. And I would pick nobody else but you for this. And it is weird to be like, I mean, I told you to read my bio, but it's so weird to be like, "Ooh, someone's reading my bio."
You
But I'm
know,
so excited.
I was like, I stumbled for a second. I was like, wait a minute, no, Rafe, you've got this. Come on, you know. And I also, I don't know. I want to start off by saying before we like get into everything, how proud I am of you. Like,
Mm,
for anyone listening, like Juan and I have known each other for just about a decade, and to see how far we've come to where we are now and how the both of us have just grown into the human beings that we are. I'm just like,
mm.
yeah, words can't describe how proud of you I am. Like you're just an
Oh,
incredible human being. So I'm honored that you invited me to this space. Thank you.
oh, right back at you. No, I tell you all the time how proud I am of you, and also for those watching on YouTube, we did not plan our outfits. We did not plan our
We did
shirts of
not.
yin
We
and
did not.
yang, but it's given yin and yang, and I love it, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Well, so I figure because, well, how many episodes have you actually recorded of Third Eyesight?
This makes episode 180. A
Holy,
perfect 180 for this episode.
I'm only on like episode like 13.
You'll get there, boo
So
boo.
it's all good. It's all good, but that's incredible. So I feel like this is a really good point for uh, old listeners, for new listeners to just maybe get a feel of who it is that you are. So I'd love to hear like
Mhm.
um, tell everyone where you're based, tell everyone about your work, tell everyone about Juan.
Yeah, so I'm based in New York City, but I'm originally from several places. Born in Houston, raised in Miami. That's how I met Rafe through university. Yeah, through university life. And but yeah, I live in New York City with my doggy Sella. And yeah, I'm a psychic medium. And what that means two different things. One is I can connect to those who have departed from this physical world. So our loved ones, whether they're mother, father, brother, sister, just you name it, anyone who may be closely connected to the client that I'm working with. Sometimes
Mhm.
spirit guides will come through too. But spirit guides mostly come through in my psychic intuitive readings, which is where I use my tarot cards and I ask for guidance from those spirit guides, mine, yours, to get some insights into some life questions you may have about your career. Maybe it's about finances, or maybe it's about your love life. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. And by day, something I don't often talk about, but I am a publicist by day in the nonprofit sector. And and Rafe knows this, and I've said this on the last episode or second last episode. I am studying to be a certified life coach in 2026, and I'm gonna add that to my titular line, all my line of titles: publicist, psychic, intuitive, medium. Life coach. I can do all the things.
Oh my God. I have a dear friend of mine, when she was going through schooling and everything, she told me at some point, she was like, I'm determined to have every letter at the end of my damn name. And so it's like blank blank, PhD, MD, all of it's just like ridiculous,
LMNT, LGBTQIA. Yep,
all
yep.
of it. Like, bless you, right? So that's really awesome. Okay, so like, um, it sounds like you have a lot going on. Like, how do you manage being a publicist, taking on clients, doing the work that you do? Like, how do you manage all of it?
Yeah, I've been managing it pretty well. I'm thankful and also a little. So I don't get a lot of bookings as a psychic medium. I would like to get more, but it's also okay because my day job keeps me very, very busy. And Stella's doing her bed. That's the scratching noise. But yeah, I do a lot of work for my 9 to 5, and so I feel lucky that I'm not right now booked up the wazoo with client readings. But the hardest part is social media. Having a day job, doing some readings, doing the podcast, and then there's time for social media. That's I think the hardest part is the promotion. I'm good at promoting other people through my PR and my PR skills, but with myself, I need to work on that part.
Well, and so when I asked the question about you balancing, like I was actually referring not just to the booking side of it and working with clients, but that part specifically because I know like as I'm juggling work and life, it's like, okay, I'm constantly having meetings with my co-host Anthony. Like we're constantly trying to figure out new things and content to create. We're working on the TikToks and the things and the outreach and who are we going to interview next and what does this look like in the meetings, and it can be very, very involved. So like
Yeah,
it's cool that you are figuring that out and like working towards something bigger, right? Um,
yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to hear a little bit about like with the work that you do as a psychic medium. What are your hopes and like with the work that you do? Like
Mm.
what's your why?
I truly just want to help people live a happier life. And if that means
Mm,
they're hearing from their father that they had a falling out with before he passed and hearing a message from him of
mm,
forgiveness, or there not being a need to forgive, to let go of the guilt, if that helps someone lead a life that's just a little bit easier to manage, that's my hope. Or if it's through a card reading, if it helps someone gain insight that's going to give them an aha moment or help them see things in a different through a different lens. At the end of the day, just what I said in the first line of what I just everything I just said, just to help someone lead a happier life, a more fulfilling life. Um,
mm,
I feel like, especially nowadays, it's just life has always been difficult on this planet for all generations. But in the time we're living in, there's just so much crap to be concerned about, to be worried about. And I'm not the solution. I can't give the solution. But if what I do with somebody could just help them have a little bit more hope for the next day to come, or for the time to come, I've accomplished what I think I've been set out to do. And this is not something that being a psychic medium is not really something that I sought as a side career or a career. It
yeah.
just it just happened. I had my experience, as my bio said, that came out of nowhere, allegedly. The universe has its plans. But at the same time, it's even though it came out of nowhere, I know I was meant to experience all these things and be where I am today. And I didn't have to make it a business. I didn't have to do readings for people. I just decided, okay, if I did this for a friend, whom that was for, if this is the kind of experience she had with what I was doing or what spirit was doing through me, then maybe I can do
Mhm,
this with more people.
mhm.
And that's what I want. That's what I hope people step away from my readings feeling is empowered, or that they have an extra dose of hope.
Yeah, oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. And I feel like because I have worked with you, I've worked with other psychic mediums in the past too. Like I do leave those sessions feeling hopeful and just more connected to who it is that I am, or to my guides, or to angels, whatever anyone believes in, you know. But
Mhm.
um, I think that that's really beautiful that you connect deeply with that. Um, would you? I know that this might sound like an odd question, but like, would you consider yourself to be a spiritual person?
Yes. Um, yes, I believe I am well, I am a spiritual person. I think what that word means to each other person, that's not me. It varies. For me, being spiritual, for me, is just knowing that there's life, there's energy and life beyond what our five senses can pick up on, and
Mhm.
connecting with that essence, which I believe is the essence of who we all really are. So I believe I am a piece of God, or dare I say it, God, just like you are, just like the person I may not like is, the
Right.
political figure I may not jive with, they're a piece of God too. Everyone is a piece of God energy. And that's my spirituality. That's my belief system. Everything else that's, burning white sage, incense, meditation, these are all, to me, these are all the bonuses. These are all the little the a la carte items we can choose for each of ourselves, and it differs person to person. But for me, at the core of my spirituality is just feeling and knowing that there is something beyond my physical body and my five senses that is
Mm.
driving me and driving everything that's going on around me.
Mm. So beautiful. I love the way that you articulated that too. Um, what would you say within this sort of domain, this arena of spirituality? What would you say are the things that matter most to you about it? You
Hmm.
mentioned hope earlier and instilling that in other people, but for Juan, like what, yeah, what is that? What matters most to you?
So I go back to this is a childhood experience I had for a very long time that still sometimes comes back to me.
Mhm.
When I was a child, from the age of like 4, I would have well, what felt to me like severe panic attacks about dying, about the fear of dying. I was so afraid of death and one day no longer, quote unquote, existing on on this planet. And I remember I would be in the backseat of so this is funny to me now, but I would be in the backseat of my parents' car, and my parents would play Barney music,
That's awesome.
music from like the Barney movie or Barney TV show. And there would be like this really sappy song. I adored Barney. It would be
Me
this
too.
really sappy song. Then I would feel sappy. And then I would start thinking, oh my gosh, this is not going to exist anymore one day. And I was 4 years old. I don't know why I thought that way. And I would start huffing and puffing and like, Mom, Dad, I want to die. And I would freak out. My parents, they could still tell you to this day, they many times had to talk me down from like this intense moment. And when I started doing this work in 2021, how often those panic attacks would happen, usually late at night when I'm in bed looking at my ceiling, like
Mhm.
what does life
Mhm.
mean? That has lessened over time. There is still, I'll be honest, and I this is where I feel sometimes I wonder if this is where my imposter syndrome comes from, but I'm just human. I don't know what it's like to die, even though I'm a psychic medium. I don't know what it's like to be on the other side. I hope
Mhm.
I don't ever find out until it's my time. But yeah, I still have a fear of, I think just like I love living. I really love living.
Mm.
I feel very lucky to say I love living my life. And at the same time, I know it can't go on forever. And so what this work has really done for me is maybe it hasn't completely dispelled the fear, because I think that's just also a natural human fear,
Yeah.
for many of us. Um, but what it has done is help me be more present,
Mm.
because the stories I hear, the messages I channel, it just reminds me all the time that life can be gone in tomorrow. It could be gone
Mm.
in an instant, or dying at an older age. I hope that I don't have regrets about I didn't tell that person I loved them enough, or vice versa. If the roles are reversed and someone's passing, and I feel that way about them, it just reminds me how important it is for me to live my life to the fullest, and to Um, yeah, I mean, the stories I've heard people who've lost. I mean, I think of my dog. People, their dogs come through sometime, and I think about how much I want to really just look at my dog and adore her because it goes by so fast. So it helps me. This work has
Mhm.
helped me be very present. It hasn't solved all my problems, hasn't solved all my fears, but it helps me be present. And that, as a Gemini who overthinks, that is what I need more than anything. It's helped a lot.
Wow. Do you feel like with your practice, as you continue to deepen it, do you feel like it supported you in managing your anxiety over time?
I think so. I never thought of that. Yes, but not on its own. I think most people who've listened to this podcast have heard me be a very big proponent for therapy and mental health. I I think these two things had to happen for me, the psychic mediumship and that practice, and my heaven sent therapist. These two things had to happen for me to be where I
Yeah,
am today.
yeah.
Um, and I also had a psychic mentor, a mediumship mentor that I worked with. So I'll just put it this way. When I started seeing my therapist 4 or 5 years ago, I was, I mean, I'm an anxious person, period, but then I was just very down on myself, very low self-esteem, very worried about what people think of me. And then he kept talking about, inner child work, your parents, inner child work, your parents. Like,
Mhm,
that's so
mhm,
psychology cliche. I'm not gonna. And then in 2023, I started working with my psychic mentor, Daisy, and she said, "A, for you to be the best channel you can be for spirit, we need to look at your inner child." I'm like, okay,
mm,
fine. I've heard this before. Let's do it. And let me tell you, Boo Boo, because she reintroduced that to me and I did that work,
mm,
I started reintroducing that into, well, I told my therapist and we started doing more of that. I was more open to it, rather. He always was mentioning it, working through that lens, but I was more open to it.
yeah.
And between my psychic mentor and my therapist and doing the inner child work with both of them separately, but at the same time, it changed my world. I became a better medium because I was willing to be more vulnerable myself with a client and also vulnerable enough that whatever messages came through that may be heavy, that may trigger me from spirit because these are all human experiences, right? And I've had my own, and something may trigger me that comes through from a father in spirit who's saying sorry,
Yeah.
etc. I am not projecting my own trauma and the way I've experienced my trauma onto the message I need to deliver for somebody. And therefore I
Mm,
become a better channel in service to my client. And at the same time, in outside of psychic mediumship, it's just made me a better person. I love myself more than I used to.
mm,
I still care to an extent when people think. I think in a more healthy way, but it's not to the point where I don't want to go out because I'm afraid people are going to think of me. Um,
right.
I forgot if I answered your question, but I this is
Totally
what
good.
this is this is how anxiety. This is how this work has helped my anxiety. But I think if I this is just I don't like what ifs, but I'll be honest. I think if I had just relied on my psychic mediumship journey and not had the mental health component, I think I would have gone down the route of let me do a spell. I would have
Yeah,
been.
yeah, yeah.
I think I needed both things to happen at the same time for me. That's my journey. Everyone's journey is different.
But you're speaking into something that's so powerful, in my opinion, from my perspective. Um, I don't know, when working with a psychic medium like yourself, like for me, I need to feel like I can trust the person who's doing that work with me. I feel like I need to, just like a therapist, right? Like it's about building the relationship, having that connection, and not saying that you need to know everything off the front end, right? Of like what's happening in my life and why I'm here and all of those things. But it's for me about um, having someone who has a foundation of sort of mindfulness and awareness, not just about what's happening around me or within me and my angels and guides, but also um, about how I am showing up emotionally, what is showing up for them emotionally, like just checking in and having a deep awareness around uh, uh, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
as psychic mediums, we have a responsibility because often, I mean, first of all, death is a very sensitive topic and loss and grief. That's sensitive enough. But the
Yeah.
messages that come through can be particularly sensitive. I've Yeah, I mean, there have been fathers. Just one example. It's not always dads that are the issue. Not I make it sound like it, but it's just the easiest, most
Yeah.
accessible example I could think of. When a father figure comes through who was maybe not the best father to my client, but the client's open to hearing from him, I have to be very conscientious of the words I'm choosing because spirit really, for me personally, spirit often doesn't communicate with like tells me the words to say. They tell me the feelings to express. So it's
Mm.
my job to put what I'm feeling from spirit into words. And if I choose the wrong words that could re-trigger or re-traumatize somebody or make that or put a burden on them, that's my responsibility to really not do that. And that's why I think this work um, is not easy. If personally, I think if you're somebody who is very uncomfortable in your own skin and has not worked, you haven't worked through your own triggers. And there's always going to be triggers, but at least acknowledge them and be aware of them and try to work through them so that you're not projecting onto your client.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about the willingness to be uncomfortable, right? And to tolerate the discomfort and be able to explore that and speak it into existence, both for the psychic medium, but then also the client as well, right? Being able and to have that willingness. And I think there, in order for that to happen, it requires sort of an emotional trust or vulnerability to receive sort of the desired results or
Yeah.
create success, however that looks.
Yeah.
Um, so like I want to know like granted, I already know the answer because I've had my own experience, but for the people listening, what is it like to work with Juan? Like, what is an experience with you like?
Yeah, and a psychic in terms of like mediumship, I love mediumship. I mean, if I had to, if someone told me choose cards or mediumship, I'd be like, I have to go with mediumship. It's just so it's
Mhm.
such deep, beautiful work. So with mediumship, the way that it works is usually I tell someone, I call it my spiel, just how I tell them how I communicate with spirit, how they communicate with me. And the most important thing to me is I tell somebody, I'll tell a client if something doesn't resonate, tell me, and you're not going to offend me. I won't, you'll hurt my feelings. I would love to be 100% accurate, but my goal is just to channel as clearly as I can. I'm open to saying I've misinterpreted something.
Yeah.
So I think people can expect me to be very honest, to be as fair as possible to their experience in the reading. And then the way spirit communicates with me, I will see images that could be either literal or symbolic. And I always use the example of a blue blanket. So sometimes I get a blue blanket image, and sometimes it means a hospital blanket. So they're taking me immediately to their passing in a hospital. Sometimes it
Mm.
could mean, based on my cultural frame of reference and upbringing, a newborn baby boy, blue blanket. And that could be more symbolic. And so that's how spirit communicates with me. But my favorite part of it is when I'm channeling a soul for a client, the soul's going to have me feel their personality. Like, were they a firecracker of a personality?
Mhm.
Were they more of a shy person, or were they someone who struggled with mental health and maybe they're not as peppy or that's how they're showing themselves. So something I got to say too is when spirit comes forward and has me feel personality, it's their personality as we knew them in the physical world. So
Mm.
it doesn't mean that they're depressed because they were depressed in the physical world. They're just coming through the way we'll recognize them. So that's how spirit will work with me, and that's how I relay messages and who I'm getting from the other side to the client.
That's really, really gorgeous. Um, and like when you are channeling like a soul, let's say that, like, what does that feel like for you? Like what's that experience like when you are, yes, you're channeling their personality, but how does that enter you or yeah, talk to me
Mm. Well, it's not like Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost, where it's like, whoop,
about yeah.
it
I don't
ain't
know.
that.
It's great.
Was that Molly? You in danger, girl? No, it's not
Danger
like
group.
that.
Yes.
It's. I'll describe it this way. One time, I heard a psychic medium say, or they questioned. They said it. I forgot how they said it, but they shared on a podcast that they realized that spirit was just talking in their own voice. When we hear ourselves talk to our when we talk to ourselves in our heads, usually we
Mhm.
hear our own voice. For me, that's how spirit usually communicates. And that's where it gets tricky because then it's about, okay, if I'm getting something from spirit and I'm hearing it in my own voice in my head, which could sound cuckoo to some, but it's I have to determine, okay, is this me making something up or trying to think something up, or is this coming out of nowhere? And it takes a
Mhm.
lot of practice. It's really about trusting what you're getting, trusting your intuition. And nothing physically changes for me yet. I mean, that can change in years to come. I used to there was a time when I would see spirit once in a while growing up, and then up until like college years, and I rarely see them with my physical eye. That may change. I think it always evolves, but for right now, what I feel, it's just the best way I can describe it is if I tell you, like, hey, Rafe, I've asked you, what did you do yesterday? And you say, oh, I went to the park. Oh, what did you do at the park? Well, I just had I did a little picnic. I spread out a blanket, had a basket, had some bread. And as you are telling me these things, it's likely that images are popping up in your head, flashes of memories from yesterday at the park with the picnic with the basket. Those flashes is how I experience spirit. Or if I ask you, what did it feel like to be at the park? It was breezy, it was so warm on my skin. And even though you're not feeling the sun on your skin right now, as you're telling me, you can remember the feeling of the sun on your
Mhm.
skin. That's how
Mhm.
I feel their personality, what it felt like to be in their presence. So it's
Mhm.
like I'm feeling these, I guess I'll call them both visual and physical memories, all these sensory memories of these people, but they're people I've never met. That's how it is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like I'm not as deep into this work as you are, right? I have my own sort of practice with energy work, and then there's also the work that I do with mental health coaching. But I have dabbled, and for me, when I have experienced moments where I have um, channeled or I've felt a presence, right? Um, it's similar to me. Like I'm very clairaudient. I hear things, but then I also can see things. So I think that that's really cool that you have third eyesight that you can see. Um, do you connect with any other like sort of clair sort of those gifts, those aspects?
So do you remember when I said I'm spiritual and the sage and this and that? That's all the extra stuff. Well, I'm not good at remembering which Claire is which, but I think I'm still spiritual.
Yeah,
I'm a B
it's
plus
all good.
student. But what I do know is I believe is claircognizance just the knowing, or no, clairvoyance is seeing and claircognizance is just the knowing. I would
Yes.
say like definitely the claircognizance is pretty strong for me.
Mm,
And clairaudient also, but it's not that I hear something physically outside of my ear, like I'm hearing you. It's I hear things in my head. Um, it
yes.
sounds so great. I know. I think it's funny because years ago I would have been like, "You crazy girl," hearing things in your head. But no, I think what's more likely to happen for me to reading is I'll just have a knowing, and then I'll hear things in my head, and I'll see visuals.
Yeah.
That's usually what I resonate with. I never there's also Claire, it's the one of taste. There are people who can taste
Uh-huh.
things. That's never
Yeah.
happened for me.
And then there's a clear that's around like feeling, like embodying sort of the emotion, I believe, as well.
Right. That happens to me fairly often. I
Yeah.
forgot which I forget which one that is. I got to do my homework.
We're gonna look it up. It's gonna be cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like I'm wondering how for a person in your line of work, what it looks like for you to grow, to evolve. Like, does it look like just being in the practice and staying um connected to the other side and to keep following and having bookings? Or does it look like um, you doing something that allows you to evolve your craft over time, or maybe shift your mindset around your approach? Or, uh,
Mm.
yeah, how does one grow doing this for like with the actual skill itself?
Yeah, that's a great question that no one, well, a lot of people don't really think about. Um, I've been part of a mediumship practice group since I discovered this ability in 2021, and I still go. It's every Tuesday. I go most Tuesdays, and that has has exponentially helped my abilities because it's a space where there's the pressure isn't there because you're not getting paid for it. There isn't a monetary exchange, but you are exchanging readings with other people, which is really lovely. And it's also the facilitator Kristen, whom I've had on this podcast too. She is so not judgmental and creates this safe space to practice, and even says, you may think you're wrong about something, but it could be it's more likely you're just misinterpreting it. And it could also be something that is wrong, quote unquote, now, but a month later, and this happens, that person will say, "Oh my God, you said that thing. I just learned that my grandfather did have that chest of clothes, whatever it is." And so I think finding a group or a setting where you can practice without the pressure of monetary gain or exchange of money, I think that's really
Mhm.
important. Or even if you just, and this is something I did before I started doing my business, making money off of this. I just put out there like, hey, I'm doing free readings, pay as you wish or don't pay anything, just to help me practice. I think that's really important. And then when it comes to the different clairs, and this is actually a really good prompt for me, you asking me this question, because it makes me think, okay, the next time I do a reading, what if I challenge myself? Like, what am I tasting in this experience this soul is giving me? What am I, um, just whatever other random clair, like, how can I tap into that clair that I'm usually not used to tapping into? And I believe all of us can do all the things. I think there's some clairs or strengths that each of us have, but I think it's worth at least trying. I think we can all dip our toes into different things to see like what
Mhm.
it's like. And maybe we learned, okay, maybe I'll learn that Claire Gustance, which is the taste, I don't really prefer to channel that way. I can, but it's not my preference. It's not my style. So
Mhm.
I think trying different things, and that's the important thing about this work. Just like with any kind of industry, it's good to evolve. But I think the key is being open to evolving, because I think if we also force different modalities or different ways of doing things, we want to make sure it speaks to us, number one, and we want to make sure that it feels natural to our evolution as spiritual workers.
Yeah.
And like I said, I believe all of us can do this. I just think it's at different capacities. I don't think this is something to gatekeep that like you said you've channeled before. Like that's amazing. I think everyone can do this. And it's just about how open you are and finding what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, and you're speaking about something that I'd like to bring into the space now because, okay, when it comes to this idea of growth and trying new things and being open to maybe like not getting it right, I think that, or at least this is my assumption, that people in the world, when they approach a psychic medium or they're working with someone like you, where the topic's already sort of taboo or iffy or like, I don't know about this, right? Um, to how do you include this idea of humanity and like um, being open to not having everything right, but then also like still staying true to what it is that you're feeling and experiencing in the moment?
Mm. It's so tough with social media. I mean, this has always been a tricky subject for psychic mediums because, I mean, since the dawn of time, this kind of stuff has not always been portrayed in the best light. And I
Yeah.
think with good reason. I think it's good to be skeptical. My clients who've done work with me, most of them, if not at least half of my clients, have experienced me in a reading, share something with them, and they'll say it's true, but then I'll say out loud, let me verify that. Let me get something deeper about this just to make sure this is your father. I think it's important to be a little skeptical or to be a little to try and do the hard work of making sure that what I'm getting is as accurate as possible. And I think at the same time acknowledging that I'm not going to get everything right because I'm a human being. And it's interesting how, if someone buys a ticket to see a movie, they hate the movie. It's
Hmm.
a faux pas to step out of the movie when it's done and be like, "Give me my money back. I didn't like it." Like, no, you paid. You didn't. This was an artistic experience. You saw a movie. You didn't know if you were gonna like it, and you didn't like it. Or when there's so many. experiences in life where we pay for something not knowing what to expect and hoping we experience something great and we don't get our money back. And the reason I'm bringing that up is with mediumship, I think some criticism I've seen is that mediums should not be making money. They should be free because it is a gift. And yes, it is a gift. I think it's a gift we all have, but I think it's an experience that I think should be affordable to people. But it is still like I am still expending my energy as well as taking my time for a stranger to do this
Yeah,
work. And
yeah,
I think that also to your question about humanity, there's two things I'm addressing here. Number one, the need to acknowledge the time and energy it takes for a medium to do this when they do their best. And also, that a medium is not going to be 100% accurate. Just like a movie, every movie you're going to see is not going to always be the best movie you're going to see. Um,
right.
it is a very, would argue, it is a creative experience to do
Mm,
mediumship. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of drawing into. Spirit uses our life experience to draw from to give us the symbols and the signals. Um, and I think also, so there's that side of the medium's humanity, and then another like part B to your question, answer to your question is I don't want anyone who sees me in a reading to think that the only way to talk to their mama is to come to me. That they need to book Juan in order to hear from their son.
mm,
Um, to me, that just is not ethical to me. I want everyone, and I say it at the end of almost every reading. I say, what I'm doing, you can do. It may feel different, but you can connect with your loved ones too. Talk to them like you're
mhm.
talking to me right now, and
Yeah.
you can connect with them. And I think on my site, I forgot if I have it up still, but I think I say that, or maybe I tell clients once in a while, like you don't need to see me more than 2, 3 times a year. If you decide to see me more often, fine, but there'll also probably be a moment where I'll tell you, hey, you saw me a month ago. I recommend we take some time in between
Mm,
because look, yes, I can pay my bills. If you give me, if you book more readings with me, sure. But from an ethical standpoint, I am not here to be your phone line to God, your phone line to your mother, son, etc. I'm here to remind you that they are around you, that the things you are experiencing from your mother, your son, your father, that those are real experiences. Now, what you've learned here with me and what you've heard through me from your loved ones, go and connect with them because
mm,
you know now that they are aware of what's going on in your life. They're sending you signs. So now go and connect with them and see me in a year, see me in 6 months, sure. But don't rely on me as your constant connection. I'm just that reminder. And the last thing I'll say about this is I like to use the metaphor of going to a restaurant. So you go to a restaurant, have a dish made by a special chef, and maybe you can replicate the dish at home. You learn the recipe. You say this, let's say the chef gives you the recipe. You try to make it at home. It may not be exactly the same, but it's pretty good. But you'll still
mhm.
sometimes want to go back to the restaurant because it's just different when a chef makes it for you. That's how
Yeah.
I see mediumship. I'm here giving you the recipes, giving you the dish. Now you go and make it. And it may feel a little different because it's coming through yourself. It's coming directly from yourself. You can come back to the chef and have it once in a while, but you can make the meal too. That's kind of cheesy, but that's the best metaphor I can think of.
Love that. I love that so much. I'm a very visual person, so I appreciate that very much. And like I think it ties back to a few things that we spoke about tonight, right? Again, this is my assessment of it, but I think that for a lot of people who, and not saying that this is the case always, but I've seen it before. There are people who go to psychic mediums because there is something that is unsettled. There's an anxiety within somebody, there's a lack of peace that's there. And so oftentimes they would approach a psychic medium to in the hopes that they will achieve this idea of peace, right? And so instead of being able to self-manage, this is where mental health comes in, having the tools to be able to self-manage, we then become dependent on someone else to alleviate,
Mm,
right? Which I think is so interesting because I don't think that's your job, right? It might be a byproduct in a moment from a specific something great, but that's not your responsibility. And I think that there's something really deep there. And I think that to another point, like it's a very collaborative process,
Oh
and
yeah.
being able to really connect with someone and to have that emotional connection, right? Even though we don't know much about each other, like feeling safe with you, feeling safe enough for me to be able to open up vulnerably and to express myself or to say yes or to admit to something that might be uncomfortable or to
Mm-hmm.
look deep into something and say, okay, hold on, like, does this actually represent something significant in my life? Like, that
Right.
takes courage, you know? So I don't know, like, I don't know where I'm going with this aspect of what I'm saying, but I think that it's just tying into a lot of what you said is tying into some things that we spoke about tonight.
Yeah,
So,
I always say to when I say now to clients more than I used to that this is a collaboration. This is a conversation. Like I'm going
yeah.
to be saying things and there could be something that I'm being shown that doesn't make sense to me, but I say it out loud and it means
Hmm.
something to you. It's like a game of
Yeah.
charades sort of.
Yeah.
And so this is where we're going to work together. I'm going to say a bunch of things. I'm like, okay, this sounds crazy, but here you go and let's see if it resonates for you. So it definitely is a collaboration. And to one point you said about when people maybe compulsively see psychics. So one of my, let me be nice here. Some of the emails I get or the requests for readings that I get a little bit, I like to be careful about are requests like, does my ex love me? Or I think my wife is cheating on me. And I will do the reading for those people, but I will tell them once I had someone email me this for a reading recently, and I sent them an email saying, hey, just want to say that I'm happy to read it for you, but I'm going to in this case, it was someone asking if their wife is cheating on them. I'm going to read you from the perspective of what's going to be the best decision for you here and how to navigate this with your wife. Not are they cheating on me? Because if you're coming to me wondering about it, there's something you know about what's going on already. Like trust your intuition. And maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but what I'm here to do is help you make the best decision in this situation to empower you. When I think the worst time to see a psychic or I would argue a medium too, to speak to a loved one, is when you are approaching the session with, I need someone to give me my power instead of I want someone to help me
Yes.
see my power. It's a
Yes.
very different intention. And
Uh,
with the former, that's where the scamming happens. Come
mhm.
back to me. I'll get your ex back. Or come back to me. I your mom's I think I've heard of mediums DMing people. I have your mom with me. Book a reading with me. Oh, bleh,
Oh,
horrible.
no.
Horrible. No, and there are a lot of gifted people out there who have not good intentions. So it's very important as the client, I'm not going to judge someone if they're grieving and want to book a psychic mediumship reading. Of course, like I get it. But make sure you trust the person you're booking, especially if you're in
Mhm.
the midst of grief. You want to trust them with your vulnerability as best as
Yeah.
you can.
Oh, that's really solid. I love that. What would you say is like a misconception that you hear a lot about the work that you do?
I think I'm gonna try and think of a new one because the one that comes to mind first is that psychics and psychic mediums that were I don't think we did really delve into this that were perfect. I did talk about the humanity of the medium, but this is delving more into um I think some people I believe think that psychic mediums have their shit together, that we are namasteing all the damn day. And like someone cuts us off at a street light or whatever, we're like, "Oh, well, they are a piece of God." No, I get angry too. I get angry when someone cuts. You know what? One of my biggest pet peeves is when in New York City, walking on the sidewalk, and you see a group of people, like five of them, in a line walking across the whole sidewalk. You're like, I'm gonna walk right through you. I'm not.
Thank you.
I mean, that's rude. Hello, right and left. Hello. It's like traffic. One of my pet peeves. So just because I do this work doesn't mean I'm like, oh, they're walking in a line. It bothers me, but no. Like we have our ticks, we have our traumas, we have our triggers,
Mhm.
um, and we have boyfriends and girlfriends. We have sex. We love sex. We love junk food. One of my mentors her mentor would tell her, you can't eat meat, you can't have soda. And she's like I like my Coca-Cola. That's how I ground myself. That works for
Yeah.
her. So I think this idea that we are perfect, pristine people who have no fault or who can tell you the lottery numbers and know everything. I mean, if we knew everything, we'd all be rolling in cash. I tell people if I knew the lottery numbers, I wouldn't tell you. Like they're for
Right.
me.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
we're we're going through this thing called life and the mysteries of life, just like everybody else. We may predict things and they may not come true. I mean, 2024 election, a lot of people predicted it very differently, and there were a couple psychics I know who were very shocked. And I don't fault them. I don't doesn't mean they're bad psychics. We make mistakes, or maybe they misinterpreted it. So I think psychics sometimes take us with a grain of salt, especially when it
Mhm.
comes to predictions. But even with predictions, when I heard a prediction from one psychic about Kamala Harris winning 2024, we won't go too deep down that rabbit hole. Um, there were parts of his prediction I remember that were accurate, and others that, in terms of that final outcome, were not. So
Mhm.
bits and pieces sometimes do resonate, but we may misinterpret something. So all that to say, we're not perfect. We are a resource. We are not a solution. We are not the solution to humanity's problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Humanity is. Humans are. We all
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
solution. We want to be.
Yeah. It's like this idea that, we all want the quick out, the quick fix, and
Hmm.
it doesn't
If
necessarily.
only.
I know, if only, right? But if only, like, if that were to happen, like, I don't think that life would be as interesting as it is. Let's say that.
No. And something I heard a psychic medium say, just because my grandma passed, I know that she's in a better place. Doesn't mean I'm not going to grieve her. Like we're going to miss the
Mm,
people we lose too.
yeah,
Yeah, we're
yeah,
we're just as human. We bleed too.
yeah, yeah. So I know that we have a little bit more than 10 minutes left, but I wanna like just check in with you and like because you started this journey in 2021, 2025 now. Like what has this year of 2025 brought for you? And like I also this is a two-part question, but I want to hear about what's next.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for asking. Yeah, 2025. I think 2025, and I mentioned this in a past episode, it was really the year of me just doing things my way.
Mm,
I think going back to what is being spiritual, what that means to me. My mentor told me you have to meditate. Like you cannot do this work without meditating.
mm,
Girl, I feel like a C student, but I it's hard for me to meditate. I can meditate, but I'll fall asleep 4 minutes in without
mhm,
fail.
yeah.
And maybe it means I need better sleep. I don't know, but I there are other things I like to do to ground myself, and I used to meditate before every reading until I started falling asleep more. And now what I do is I just do 3 breaths and I do a little prayer and then I do my readings, and guess what? For a year and a half, my readings have been pretty good. And
Yeah.
so I think something I learned this year was just doing what feels right to me, and it may not be what's popular, it may not be what is the status quo in spiritual world, or maybe it makes me sound like less quote unquote spiritual, but that's for me to determine. That's between me and my God and not anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think also this year, um, not to bring it back to this, but everything going on in the US, in the world, um, I think I'm a very informed person. I listen to the news a lot,
Mm,
mostly in the morning, but I really had to limit how much news I was consuming this 2025 year of 2025.
yeah.
And I think it just reminded me like just how important the things that are closest to me that I can control, the people
Mhm.
or well, I can't control the people I love, but what I'm saying, the things I can control in my life and the people I love, those are the two most important things to me.
Yeah.
And everything else that goes on, I always remind myself the world has always seen chaos. Um, there's always been heartbreak in the world. It's not to diminish what's going on right now, but it reminds me, okay, as a human being in this generation, within thousands of years of generations of human beings, I'm not the only human being to know that there is shit going on in the world. Things have happened before to past generations. I'm not alone in this. Therefore, I can care. I can do what I can, a
Mhm.
period. That's all I can do is what I can. And what I can control is how I'm leading my life, what I'm doing for myself, and the time I'm spending with the people I love. And 2025 really reminded me to just kind of come back home to myself and focus on me and focus on the people around me. Because I used to be sometimes chicken little with the news. I still care, but I used to be just like, oh my God, did you see? Like, yes, they saw it. Okay, there's nothing we can do about this right now.
Mhm.
So I think acceptance has been a really big theme for me this year. It's still very hard, but I think that is a lesson I learned this year.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that word resonates a lot with me. And I love that you said that. Like every year, um, and I've been doing this for, I want to say, since 2020. I have a word of the year award that represents my year instead of coming up with like a New Year's resolution or something. And this year, um, the word that I have leaned into is inspire, right? To inspire, to receive inspiration, to be the inspiration for other people, to seek what inspires me in the world. And I don't know, I find this conversation to be just that. It's really beautiful seeing just again how far you've come, but to um, listen to you share not just your gifts, but like your mind, not what's on your
Hmm.
mind, but your actual mind, right? And to let people see and hear your expression authentically. And I think that that's really a beautiful, beautiful thing to be a witness to. So that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Thank you, my love. And I'm gonna fanboy about you a little bit because you mentioning your word of the year. So I just listened to your last episode of Two Otters Deep. A plug, and
Sure.
I heard you mention your word of the year. And I think if was this year, you said this year was inspire. Was it creativity?
So yes, it's like there's a fusion of word,
Okay.
inspire and create. Yeah.
See, I'm clocking you. I'm like, was it inspire? Was it creative? No, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
But
no,
I thought about it. I listened to that episode today, your last episode. And my word for 2026 is expansion. And I thought about that before we hopped on this call. I was talking to my therapist today. I'm like, I think 2026 is going to be about expansion for me. And that's what I'm feeling about 2026.
I love that. Oh yeah, it's so good, and I feel that for you. I actually really do.
Mm,
I think that given some of the things that you've shared with me, especially you now becoming a life coach, I'm curious to see how that expands this practice for you, and your abilities and your gifts that you're sharing as a psychic medium, and then just some of the other things. I think that like even the work that you do as a publicist and the people that you know and how you show up in relationships, I think that it's sort of a culmination of something that you've been creating for a really long time, and you've been like sort of just nurturing the soil. So I'm
yeah.
excited to see the plant that comes out, right? um
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, really, really beautiful.
Thank
So
you. Thank you, love. I just, something that's coming to mind is I was at a work retreat last week, which was, it was lovely, but it was chaotic. But at this work retreat, there is I think she's a VP. So I keep this part of my life and my 9 to 5 very separate. I think only a few, maybe one or two people, one being a close work friend and the other somebody I know as an acquaintance know that I do work as one knows I do work as a psychic and medium, one knows I do work as a psychic. And I think something I'm trying to work through is releasing the stigma, the fear of being judged, or they're going to think I'm crazy or I'm
Mhm.
unethical because I do work with death and dying, right?
Yeah.
And at this work retreat, I was sitting next to this VP and we started talking about the crystal bracelets I had. And she likes crystal, she likes yoga. And I knew she had a spiritual side to her, but I never told her this stuff. And I actually opened up to her and I said, hey, we started talking about psychic mentorship. I said, oh, yeah, I've done psychic mentorship. And I started saying, yeah, I do mediumship, and it was a big step for me. And so going back to the word expansion, I wonder, I don't know what I'm ready for in 2026 in terms of how open I am across different parts of my life, but I think I'm willing to be a little more open about it. So this is so silly. I know we're gonna wrap up soon, but I I blocked um on my psychic Instagram people from work, and for many years, and then I recently unblocked them. It's like, you know what? I'm tired of feeling ashamed or like there's a stigma if they find me. What are they gonna do? Fire me? That's discrimination.
Thank
There's a
you.
lawsuit, baby. No, I need to learn to be less fearful of what will happen. Um, and to be fair, like if someone is a deacon and works for us, they're not going to get shit for it. So why should I
Right.
be ashamed if I do something that seems to be helping many people and is maybe
Mhm.
a little unconventional to some, but um it's my life. And so maybe 2026 will see me be more open in
Oh,
general. Let's see.
I love that. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and you're speaking about contextual authenticity, right?
Which was your episode. That was your episode.
Exactly. Exactly.
Authenticity.
Right. So it's really, really important what you're speaking into. And I'm glad that you're making distinctions for yourself because that's, I don't know. Oh, there's something really
I
juicy.
know. I
So
know. We can overflow with this episode, I can tell.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm again, I just want to thank you for inviting me and spending time with me and allowing me to come into your space. I again like just seeing you in your element and hearing you speak and sharing with me. I hope that I did some sort of service or
Oh,
justice
yes, you did.
for
You
this
were
podcast.
amazing.
But I'm so proud of you and I'm so thankful for you. Y'all, for anyone listening, like again, Juan and I have been through so much on such different paths, but so similar at the same time. And like
Hmm.
eh, being in your space and your presence is so comforting to me because of our journeys and because I know like the specific nuances that would take a lifetime to speak about more than 10 episodes, right? But like I think that eh, yeah, there's something really comforting being in your space, and thank
Oh,
you for being a safe space for me and for trusting me to hold you in this way too. So
thank
congratulations! I'm
you.
so excited to see what's next for you.
Thank you so much. No, this is why I asked you to do this because you always provide a safe space. And I won't stop saying it. You are so freaking good at asking questions and coming up with interesting questions. Before we go, can you just quickly tell listeners how they find out more about Two Otters Deep? I know you don't want me to, but I'm gonna give you
No,
that shot.
no, I love that you did that. Thank you so much for doing that.
Of
So
course. I love the
yes,
podcast.
yeah. So our the Two Otters Deep podcast.
That too. You're two Potters.
Two Potters, yes. The Two Otters Deep podcast can be found on all streaming services. So we film our episodes, and those are posted on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Apple Music, or just Apple, right? There's probably a few more that anywhere you could find
YouTube.
us, you could find. Yes, there you go, right? And then also be sure to like and follow us on social media. We have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Two Otters Deep. You can find us. You'll see us.
Boom,
So
boom, boom.
yeah,
Thank you
that's
so much, my love.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Follow the podcast and please leave a review. If you want me to talk about a specific subject on the podcast or you have a question for the podcast, go to juanfranciscospirit.com and go to my contact page and submit that question.